Cal HFA Dream for All is back for 2026. And with that being said, I'm joined today by our special guest, Mr. Kelly Chow of ACG, also with my colleague, one of my good friends, Ethan Tran of eXp Realty, and myself, of course, Arthur Wu of eXp Realty. Let's start it off. Let's get right into it. Mr. Kelly Chow, what's Dream for All? Tell me all about it.
Great question. So we all might know Dream for All from last year. It's a shared appreciation down payment assistance program that can give you either up to 20% or 150,000, whichever is less, as down payment assistance towards your first purchase. Now, it's called shared appreciation because you do have to not only repay the portion of down payment assistance, but also whatever you sell the property later on for. If you have capital gains, you also have to share 20% of that. But essentially, you get a free down payment assistance needed so that you don't have to come up with it yourself, right?
Okay. Can we maybe run through some scenarios of what shared appreciation might look like further down?
Right. So let's take this for example. Let's say buyer A purchases their first home for $500,000, right? Of course, that would mean they could get up to 20% or $100,000 as down payment assistance. Now, as long as they live in this home and they continue to, make the payments, then they will actually defer that 20% down payment is zero interest, meaning they make no payments on that whatsoever until they either refinance or sell the home. Now, let's say, for example, 5 years later, they sell the home for $1 million when they bought it for $500,000. What that means is not only do they have to repay that initial $100,000 down payment, they also have to repay 20% of the $500,000 gain, which would essentially be another $100,000. So essentially, if they sold it for $1 million, then they would repay Cal HFA $200,000 total.
Okay. Right. Sounds good. So, I mean, based on what I've heard so far, the amount of money that they have in this fund is limited, correct?
Yes. So Cal HFA is expected to release about $200 million this year for the pool of applicants. Now, it's not first come, first serve. So the applicant's window, once it closes, then they'll do a random raffle and drawing.
And just let the viewers know, when's the registration time start and end this year?
Registration starts February 24th and ends March 16th. So it is coming up in a couple of weeks. So we do expect the pre-approval process does normally take a few days. Yeah. So we want everyone to act quickly if you want a shot at it.
Okay.
So I did have a question. I want to try to get into a little bit more into like the niche side of what would happen, or like more situational questions. I know that you do have to repay eventually the 20% down payment, and on top of that, 20% of the whatever gains you receive from the sell-off. Let's say someone were not to sell during their lifetime. What do you think is going to be the process after that?
Well, technically, there's no specific time frame, let's say, or time limit on that down payment assistance second lien, right? So hypothetically, even if they make all the payments for 30 years, pay off the first lien, so long as they don't transfer title or refinance, actually, there is one part. They will allow you to refinance the first lien at least once, and it can only be a rate and term refinance. You can't cash out. So long as you don't do that, you actually don't need to repay the property. Now, you do have to occupy the property as your primary residence to not trigger that repayment. But hypothetically, as long as they occupy it, they won't have to repay that 20%.
So let's say somebody wanted to apply into this program. What do you think should be the first steps for them? Is there a certain website that they have to go to, or someone that they need to call?
Right. So first step, you do have to work with a Cal HFA approved lender, which we are. And basically, we will take a look at your profile, make sure you meet all the criteria, including, of course, being a first-time home buyer, and make sure you meet all the income limits. There's income limits based on which county you're purchasing a property in. And so long as you meet this criteria, we'll actually then submit your application to Cal HFA for your chance to get a voucher.
So what you're saying is all they need to do is get in contact with you, and you'll be able to sort everything out for them.
Correct.
Very nice.
Right.
And so let's say one of our applicants, let's say they win the voucher. What is the next steps from there? Is there a certain time limit that they have, or anything like that?
So if you are one of the lucky buyers that gets the golden ticket, you do have 90 days. So you do have to move pretty quickly, work hand in hand with your realtor, of course. Make sure you're ready to submit, because once you do receive that voucher, they will limit you to give you about 90-day window to be able to get your offer accepted and under contract.
I see. Okay, so what you're saying is at the end of the day, you should be in contact with both a lender and a realtor before you even submit your application.
Right, right.
Very nice. Okay, so I mean, that's great news for the both of us.
Yeah, so Kelly, we've gone over the Dream for All, and now let's just say they weren't able to get that golden ticket or a voucher, so to say. What kinds of other options do we have that maybe some of our viewers don't know about?
Right. So that's great question. So of course we know that someone who is applying for this down payment assistance, they may need some help, or they may need to save a little more cash to be able to qualify. Now, we do have a lot of other down payment assistance programs that are readily available. And on top of that, they don't have income restrictions or first-time home buyer requirements. So maybe not as pretty as giving you up to 20%, but they can at least give you down payment loan plus closing costs on, let's say, for example, an FHA loan. So there's a lot of other options.
FHA is as low as 3% down payment?
3.5%.
Okay, 3.5%. So that's pretty low compared to what most people are trying.
And what people don't know is that you can also borrow that 3.5%. So essentially, zero money down, zero cash down. So just as good if you ask me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys found this information helpful. If you guys wanted to reach out to any one of us, our information is down below. For any real estate help, both me and Arthur will be of service. You can call, DM, or text us. And if you guys needed help for any lending purposes, Kelly is always at your disposal. He'll help out for any lending questions and be the one to also help submit your application for the Dream for All program.
For example, I know many of you guys are first-time home buyers, so even if the Dream for All doesn't work for you guys, we do have the FHA program, as we mentioned earlier, and down payment assistance programs, which we could combine with a whole host of other things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.